Welcome to Wealth Beyond the White Coat, a show where we dive deep into the world of financial freedom for dentists and medical professionals. I'm your host, Darren Flesher, a dentist with a passion for uncovering the strategies that lead to a prosperous life beyond the office. Every episode will explore the avenues of alternative investing, tax mitigation, and secrets to build wealth that the textbooks don't teach you. Whether you're looking to enhance your financial literacy, discover new investment opportunities, or simply find a better way to manage your money, this is the place where your financial health is the core of our conversations. Welcome to Wealth Beyond the White Coat, where your journey to financial clarity and freedom begins. All right, welcome back to another episode of Wealth Beyond the White Coat. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing a truly inspiring guest, Dr. Emily Letran. She spent over 30 years in the dental industry, not only as a practitioner, but also as a high-performance coach, speaker, and successful business owner. She's built and sold multiple practices, mastered the art of leadership, and has a deep passion for personal growth and healthcare professionals. Beyond her dental expertise, she's a certified high-performance coach and a Colby consultant, helping doctors and teams improve their leadership and performance. She's also a big believer in investing in personal development, and she's worked with some of the biggest names in marketing, including Dan Kennedy. Today, Emily's with us to share her incredible journey, balancing her work as a dentist, coach, and speaker, as well as her insights on scaling businesses, developing strong leadership, and creating lasting success. So I'm excited to dive into her experiences. Let's get started. Emily, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me on. Such an honor and pleasure. I just want to add one more thing to my intro there. I'm the best mom in
Yeah,
the
go for
world.
it.
Yeah, I'm the
Say that
best
again. I'm
mom in the
sorry.
world.
Oh, best mom in the world. Love it. Yeah, of
Yes.
course. First and foremost, most important thing.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for coming on again. I gave a little bit about your background in that intro, but I'd love for you to tell us from your perspective the background on you, how you got into dentistry, specifically coaching. Tell us a little bit about your journey to get here.
Yeah, thank you so much. I was actually born in Vietnam back in the late 60s. Grew up during the Vietnam War. And when the Vietnam War ended, the communists took over. So life changed for everybody. And in 1981, so the Vietnam War ended in 1975. In 1981, my aunt decided to leave the country. She was a pharmacist back home. She left with her two kids, me, my older brother, and two older cousins. So
Mm.
she's a single woman. Her husband had passed away, so she left, and we're on this boat journey with six kids, right? We were,
Wow.
I think we were from 7 to 16 years old. That's the
Okay.
age range. We escaped through the ocean. We got to Malaysia, live in a refugee camp, and then we came to the US in August of 1981. And so my journey has been blessed with a lot of help from the government. Obviously, when you come to this country as a refugee, you got certain assistance program, but it's always about learning because we don't know anything, right? We got here, we didn't know the language, we didn't know the culture, we didn't really know anything about the country. So it's
Yeah.
always looking for, okay, how do I do this? I need to learn to so that I can achieve whatever the other people are doing. I remember in high school standing in a line to get my free lunch, which is essentially the same every day of the week that get repeated, and watching these kids driving off the parking lot in their car to go get, I think at that time it was one of those hamburger joint, and thinking, when do I get the opportunity to do that? It could be that simple, but it's because
Yeah.
it's something that you don't have. So you're looking for, okay, is that the next better thing for me, the next opportunity for me? So if I've always been driven like that. So when I came out and worked, and I'm looking at how people, I went through dental school, excuse me, I went to UCLA dental school. And as I came out and worked, it's the same thirst of knowledge, I would say, where you're looking at somebody running one office or two offices. And I remember one of my first job, the one of the co-owner was a regional manager for Western Dental, which is
Mm.
one of the first DSOs back then, in the early 90s. And just watching how he run this office differently from another private practice that I was working in. And I started reading books about marketing, about how to do business, just wanted to learn how to possibly make things better.
Mhm.
And in that journey, I happened to pick up a book about time management, really, from Dan Kennedy, is No BS Time Management for Entrepreneur. Read that
Mhm.
one, and it just led to a whole journey of learning marketing, learning business. I read the other book, Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. And I went to read all the reference books from that book.
Yeah.
And so that's that journey on in personal growth. So I think I started it by chance. But once I start learning, it was something that kept my interest, right? So I would go to business conferences, marketing conferences, personal growth conferences. It has nothing to do with dentistry. And a lot
Hmm.
of time people would ask me, what is a dentist doing here, right? And I'm thinking, I'm here to learn. It has nothing to do with what you do. Your job is because you want to learn. And about 8 years ago, 2015, 9 years ago, I started getting certified as a high performance coach and started coaching. And I started coaching business owners outside of dentistry. In 2018 is when I did my first Action to Win conference in Arizona. It was actually hosted by the Arizona Dental Society. And
Hmm.
that's when I started coaching and consulting with our colleagues, the dentists. I think the journey started from just wanting to learn to at certain point wanting to help, right? And when
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
help people, it's not just your knowledge that you learn. It's to me, it's not that you have to be at a higher level, but you certainly should know a little bit more, right? Of course, it's proven by experience, but so learning more and knowing more would make you be a more effective helper. And that's why I always try to learn from really a lot of the business gurus, and taking that insights into our community.
Hey, I just wanted to interrupt the show real quick and tell you about an exclusive member discount for Legacy Point group members. The company is called Gelt, and they're both tax planning and tax preparation. We connected because their CEO actually comes from a family of physicians, and he understands the financial complexities that healthcare professionals face these days. Legacy Point is honored to partner with Gelt because it's our shared mission to empower successful professionals with optimal tax and financial outcomes. For your 20% discount off financial planning and tax preparation and priority access with their onboarding, become a member over at legacypointgroup.com. Yeah, it's interesting that you sought inspiration and learning from things outside of dentistry. Like you, I find myself in circles that are not with dentists more often these days. I was just at a due diligence conference for a potential investment that I wanted to learn more about, and I was the only non-CPA or tax attorney there. I'm just a dentist, and I just wanted to learn more about it, be able to talk intelligently about it to other dentists if they were thinking about the same thing. It's just interesting. And I learned a lot there. And so I think that's really cool that you sought the same type of learning from. I feel like there's a lot to gain from other businesses and other entrepreneurs and other opportunities that you can bring back to dentistry. So I think that's really cool that you thought the same way there.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's the idea of a mastermind. When you if
right.
you read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, right? The whole idea of a
Yeah.
mastermind is really bringing in people from different backgrounds, different experiences, so that we can
Mhm.
share and we can all grow and learn. Because if you and I get together, there's probably going to be 80% of overlapping knowledge because we're both in
Mhm.
the same field. And then there's the other 20% that we get from somewhere else. If we're in the room with a different professional, there's it's probably 20% overlap and 80% that we don't know. So I think the
Right.
opportunity to learn and to gain knowledge and experience is greater. Of course, if you pick the right person to be in the room with.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's important. I know we've talked about this before. I also coach other dentists as part of a different group. And I feel like, to your point, I find my role is sometimes advice, but more just giving options, sometimes being contrarian, just making sure they've considered everything possible that I can come up with. I'm not always giving answers. It's more just like thought processes and exploration and all of that. And I think that's important to learning as well as, or important decision making is just making sure you've thought through things and somebody's offered the counter argument to what you've already thought. Sometimes we get confirmation bias when we talk to our peers or our buddies from dental school or whatever, and you don't really get any growth from that. So I think I've found myself in a place where I feel my role is to just offer a variety of options and maybe contrary options to what you're already thinking about, just to make sure a lot of those people end up in the same place. That's okay. I just want to make sure that we've thought through things and really considered everything that you should before you dive into a decision.
Yeah, and so I just want to give a little bit of clarification because sometimes I see this question all over social media, the difference
Yeah.
between a consultant and a coach. So a
Hmm.
consultant will give you the answer, right? You have a question, the consultant's going to give you, okay, this is option one, two, three, and that the consultant will give you that manual, that handout, that checklist for you to follow. You take it back to your staff and you say, okay, I need you to break down the room this way. There are 5 steps or whatever it
Hmm.
is. That's usually what a consultant does. And the consultant usually it has the experience in that field. Coach, ask questions so you can come up with your own answers.
Yeah.
And so if somebody give me a checklist and say, this is a checklist I'm following, how come I'm not getting the result? I would probably start with those questions. Why are you doing this? How are you doing this? A
Yeah.
lot of questions. So the person start realizing maybe, yeah, I'm doing this, but I'm half-assing 50% of the time, or I'm not
Hmm.
keeping track of if my staff are actually following all these. We have this beautiful protocol and how come we're not getting to that result? So
Right.
a coach, a lot of time will ask questions. So the client come up with the answer, and the coach does not have to be in that field. Because for me, as a high performance coach, I take clients through a process. So I coach dentists, I coach financial advisor, I coach small business owner, mom and pop store kind of thing,
Hmm.
because I don't have to have those exact experience. It's similar to somebody who you say, okay, this person coach but this person is not an Olympian. But yeah, my mentor, Brendan Bouchard, he coaches Olympians and presidents and celebrities. And
Hmm.
obviously, he's none of those.
Yeah.
But he can coach them because he challenges them. He asks them questions so they can think bigger and think, where's their next level? Why is it important to do certain things? So sometimes people set a goal. Like everybody say, okay, I want to do 1 million, I want to do 5 million or whatever it is. And they don't have that clarity why they want that. Because sometimes what they really want is more time. They want to take 2 long vacations a year and they just can't get out of the office, but they think if they
Hmm.
do 2 million, it will give them that opportunity. Whereas you could be doing 500 and you can still take the 2 weeks off or whatever. If you make a decision, I'm going to schedule a certain way. I'm going to be most productive. So maybe I don't have to work 5 days. Maybe I work 4 days, but I can
Yeah.
still get to those numbers. And it's all about the mindset. It's about how you prioritize tasks. It's about how you schedule things and
Hmm.
set that intention, which is super
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. You mentioned that I think you said mentor challenges these people. I want to talk
Mhm.
about challenges in a different way. You talked about your challenges coming over here as a young person. Can you talk a little bit more about further down the line if you face any challenges as a dentist, as a business owner, and maybe how you overcame those along a little bit further down your journey?
Oh, yeah. I remember when I bought my first office where a patient may come in and they take a look at me and they go, did you go to school here? Or maybe you have a male patient and they look at you and say, can you actually take that tooth out? So every day we have people challenging our competency per se, right?
Sure. Hey, I just want to interrupt real quick and say thanks for listening to the podcast. If you didn't know, we have an associated Facebook group also called Wealth Beyond the White Coat. Over there, you can ask your questions, get feedback from group members, and have a close community of medical professionals who are likely interested in the same things as you. Whether it's alternative investing, tax mitigation, ways to keep more of your money, or even protect your assets, we're going to discuss those things in the group. Additionally, we have a private investors club called Legacy Point. As a member, you'll get exclusive discounts to preferred vendors, and you'll get access to private investments that you'll find nowhere else. Whether it's hotels, apartments, oil and gas, equipment rental, you name it, we'll be discussing those details and offering those investments to members only inside Legacy Point Group. If you want to learn more about that, please contact me or simply email info at legacypointgroup.com or go to the website legacypointgroup.com. And Wealth Beyond the White Coat podcast listeners get an exclusive discount if you use the code Wealth Beyond. That's all caps, all together, Wealth Beyond at checkout. I'd love to have you in the group, and I'd love to see you making more passive income as you move towards financial freedom, whether it's freedom to retire early, spend more time with your family, go on more vacations, or just do more of what you love while you're in the operatory. I'd love to see you doing that as part of Legacy Point. So here's to improving your financial health.
And one way to overcome that I learned, is to give them a little story, give them a little case scenario about what you've done, right? So for example, if they ask me, did I go to school here? I tell them why I went to school on a good day. On a bad day, I just say I didn't go to school, and then they start laughing. And then now we got past that right? On the competent, if they're questioning, can you do this, that kind of a thing. I think a lot of time sometimes as dentists, we are trained, first of all, to be humble. We are trained to not brag about things. If you did a big case and you go say it, then a bunch of people will say, oh, you're just bragging, kind of thing. But sometimes with a patient, which is now your customer or your
Mhm.
client, you have to brag. You have to say something like, yeah, I just did that case the other day and I changed all the upper teeth of this patient. If this person is
Right.
asking you, can you fix this one too, right? Are you capable of doing that? So you indirectly brag about what you've done by telling a story, a case scenario about somebody else. The other thing is you should put on the wall whatever you achieve. So you don't even have to talk about it. People walk into your office and they can see these things, right? And give context. If somebody got a fellowship in something, maybe have the staff say, oh yeah, by the way, did you know Dr. So the doctor did this because she was recognized for XYZ, right? So got your team to talk about you, obviously get your patient to become raving fans. A lot of time that is one of the things that I think all of us encounter, is sometimes patients questioning our competence, if we good enough. Sometimes they may be questioning our value. Why are you charging so much? And
Yeah.
again, if you tell them, look at all of the certificates on the wall, those are all of the CE courses that I took. I spent a lot of time doing training. I invest a lot of money in myself so I can be better to serve you.
Mhm.
Those are things that are facts that you can tell the patient to respond to whatever they're asking. As a business owner with multiple offices, obviously there's a staff challenge all the time, which is one of the reasons why I learned about the Kobe and went through the process to be a consultant, is because then you use these tools to understand your staff, your patient, your spouse, your kids a little bit more.
Mhm.
When we have more tools, we know we can handle the situation, we have less stress. So think about it, if we have a surgical extraction to do and you only give me a 150 and straight elevator and I broke the tooth. Now I want the root tip and I want the handpiece and I want that,
Right.
but I need the tools. So I think now a lot of us are really good in getting the clinical tools. But how come we're not getting the tools to do the non-clinical stuff? Like you say, you help your clients do investment, right? They're
Mhm.
tools to use to evaluate a property. They're experts who already they can guide you in how to do certain things. Just because you're a dentist and you have money and now you want to go invest, it doesn't mean that you know how to invest. If you're reading a bunch of newsletter, I don't think it knows that you know how to do it. It would be like telling people, okay, just read this newsletter and now go place an implant, right? It doesn't work. So to make sure the challenge when people a lot of time when people tell me they're stressed, it comes down to usually a few things. Number one is the lack of clarity. They they don't even know what to do or what's the next step or why they're in this situation. And then there's a lack of support, and it could be a support from an expert. It could be the support from having the knowledge, like maybe you need to go take a CE course so you can do molar endo, whatever it is. And that would be the tools, the knowledge. And one of the other thing I would say is a lack of courage, self-confidence. And that's not something that just happened. I don't think it comes from experience. It comes from being humble, right? Knowing where you are. And I think the best way to get more courage is to work with a mentor, because that is the person who can push you out of the comfort zone. People talk
Mhm.
about comfort zone a lot. The majority of the people are not going to get out of their comfort zone. There's a reason why it's a comfort zone, right? So you're just going to stay there. So sometimes you need somebody to push you. I think I may have shared with you when I worked with Sharon Lecter. She is the co-author of the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think it came
Hmm.
out in 1996. It took 2 years for me to get that courage because I started working with her and I'm okay doing the dentist, but I wanted to speak and to be a coach. And it just, yeah, you can do it. That you need to go speak here. And yes, you need to do this, you need to do that. And a lot of the resistance is just me resisting to me, right?
Sure.
We are our own worst enemy. And when it comes to courage, you don't just develop it. Sometimes life force you into a certain situation and you have that courage. A lot of times, I think you need somebody to help you. I went through a lawsuit several years ago. It took 5 years. I was fighting an insurance company. And this was before I became a coach. So I didn't know I had that courage to fight with them. But a lot of it has to do with having that clarity because I said, I know I didn't do anything wrong. They just want to harass me. Okay. It started from a staff and the patient, but very long story. It had nothing to do with my clinical skill. The malpractice insurance say it's a third party issue. So you're on your own.
Mm.
We're not helping you. I didn't
Oh,
even know
wow.
there's such a thing like a third party issue. So I went, they told me, they recommended a couple of attorneys. I called and I talked to one and he said, okay, I'll help you. And I remember the first thing he said is, I will help you deal with this, deal with the insurance company and with the dental board and with Dedicate. And I go, well, what does that have to do with that? I'm just dealing with the insurance company. And he said, oh, trust me, it will go to those. And it certainly did, right? So to deal with something, an entity like a dental board is nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
But again, number one is I know I didn't do anything wrong.
Hmm.
And number two is I have counsel, right? I have an expert to help me. So when you have those kind of means to have somebody to help you and you know that you didn't do anything wrong, you have your basic integrity, put it that way, you're just less stressed. You can't help the stress of the harassment, but you're less stressed, meaning, hey, if they ask me a question, if they tell me something, he's here. When we met with the board, you just shut up. I will talk
Yeah.
and I will tell you when to answer. And I think that's where I really valued having an expert on your side.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of us, if we can just please engage with an expert to help us in things that we have never done before. Don't think that just because you're a good dentist and you have a good business that you're good in everything. I seriously doubt that. And when you have that, life is just easier. You're less stressed. You have less stress. I'm sure, like your clients, if they have a question and they have you to ask, it's just less stress, right? Rather than
Hmm.
they pounding their head against the wall trying to figure out the answer, they might just ask you, and you just in 2 seconds you give them the answer. And that's the opportunity. That's the advantage of having support, which I think a lot of us who are solo practitioners, sometimes we just keep it to ourselves.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing all that. Sounds like some of this has been forced growth on your end, but you've embraced
Mhm.
it. I'd love to dig into that a little bit more, specifically like how we could help other dentists when it comes to mindset and personal growth and resiliency and all that kind of stuff. From your perspective, when you're talking to clients, maybe dentists specifically, what is potentially the biggest gap you see in their mindset when it comes to balancing personal growth and running a practice and having all of that be successful? And balanced in what they're trying to do at home, but also as a business owner. In part one of our conversation with Dr. Emily Letran, we went into her inspiring journey from Vietnam to the U.S. as a refugee and her rise to success in dentistry, business, and coaching. Emily shared how her challenges shaped her passion for personal growth, leadership, and helping others achieve high performance. We also discussed the importance of seeking mentorship, learning outside traditional fields, and balancing personal and professional goals. Her story is a testament to resilience, ambition, and the power of investing in yourself. Be sure to tune in for part two, where we'll get more into the gaps in personal growth amongst healthcare professionals and some of Emily's strategies for balancing personal and professional success. Thanks for listening in to Wealth Beyond the White Coat. Your time and attention mean a lot to us. If you found value in today's episode, please consider leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform and share it with your colleagues and friends. Your feedback helps us grow and reach more professionals like you striving for financial freedom. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of your financial health. Thank you for joining us on this journey to wealth beyond the white coat.